Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our evening edition of Big Brother 22 All-Stars Live Feed Spoilers. We are coming to you after Sunday night's new episode. Thank you, NFL, for running over pretty much forever so we could get this.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Well, finally, we are able to talk about the game. There are a number of things happening on the live feeds, including Devon and Kevin hatching a plan. I'm not saying it is a good plan, but it is a plan.
It is a plan.
We'll talk first a little bit about the episode, and then we'll get into the feeds. But before we do anything here, if you guys do like this video, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and if you do want to support us further, check those links to the store and also our Patreon.
So we'll get into a little bit about this Devon fight with David. Poor David. This episode made me feel really bad for what is going on. I mean, clearly Nicole and Danny's plan that they hatched worked out very well, but you know, at what cost? It got really bad.
It's the thing about
And the show didn't even show everything.
That's the thing about this show is that, you know, I understand you only have like 40 to 42 minutes per episode, but there's so much context that is just lost, like out the wind for people just watching the show. I mean, starting with the reason Devon has so much distrust of David, I mean, some of it stems from earlier in the game when he wasn't really expressing a lot of loyalty to her, when Devon was really, you know, she struggled a lot with wanting to keep him over Nicole Anthony, but she still decided to do it.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, just last week, David lied to her face and was lying to everybody about using that power.
Yeah, it's like, I know eventually he sort of came clean to Devon and Kevin, but he didn't do it right away, and
No.
I understand the frustration with all of that. So they're not giving you that context. They also didn't give another context where they showed David sort of blowing up almost out of nowhere amidst everything that was going on. And what allegedly happened is that Devon used the term towards David, basically suggesting that he was selling out his own race to the white players within the game. And that, I think, is probably what got David to get so heated in the way in which we saw on the episode. And that's something that on the feeds, he's continued to sort of be frustrated about. And I understand some of the distrust Devon has, but I think she's going to feel really, really bad watching a lot of this back.
I feel like that's the theme of this season is once everybody gets out of the house, they're all going to feel really bad about things that are going on in the game, because we've already seen a lot of people leave the game and look back and be like, oh, so I was wrong about this. I did this. Like, this hasn't been a great season for that.
It hasn't been, and this just situation just sucks because I like Devon and I like David so much, and I really want the two of them to find a way to work together, because if nothing else, and I think this is the big flaw that Devon has in her thinking right now, is that yes, David has been untrustworthy in the game before, and it's important to have a good memory for things, but when your back is up against the wall, I don't think you're in a place where you can sort of turn away anyone at this point.
Yeah, I mean, a big thing in this game is being able to forgive a lie to move forward into a truth. And that's where sort of why I thought David was going to be so great at this game, because he's really perceptive, that I thought he'd be able to sort of sift through like, okay, this is a lie, this isn't a lie. You lied to me about this, but you're not lying to me about this. And that's the thing with this game. Everybody lies in this game. So if somebody tells you a lie, okay, yeah, you're going to be upset about it, but in some ways you can't hold on to that lie, because this isn't a game where it's once you're a liar, you're always a liar. Sometimes it's this is a lie, this isn't a lie. And that is what makes this game as difficult as it is.
Is this the spot where I can blame Kevin? Because really, we all need to just blame Kevin now for all of this.
Oh, Kevin, you can just see yourself out. I'm so over this.
Yeah, it's like, you know, if Kevin had just decided to, oh, I have a great idea, let's start selling this plan out to other people because I think they must be game with it. It's just like, You guys, I want to root for you, but you keep just shooting yourselves in the foot over and over and over again.
I really wanted to root for Kevin, especially when he's like, I'm going to use this money for adoption. I was like, oh, Kevin. I'm out on Kevin. I still want him to have money for adoption, but he can't win this game.
He is just doing, this is just so bad. Because I don't think this plan would have probably worked ultimately regardless. But, you know, if Danny or Nicole or anybody on that side started to feel like, okay, maybe this is going to be a landslide vote, you never know what kind of hinky vote magic or anything else could have happened. At the very least, maybe Danny would have gotten some blood on her hands.
I love hinky votes and stuff like that, but this plan and this sort of pretend vote thing, I didn't like any of it. All of it made me very uncomfortable watching this episode.
That's the thing. It's like, you know, I love fun drama on Big Brother, but the operative word there is fun. And the nature of it with Davon and David and what we sort of alluded to earlier, it sort of made it in a position where this isn't fun. Like, this is just something that is personal, and I think it's particularly hurtful to David, and I think Davon is going to feel a whole lot of guilt after the fact. And, you know, I understand, like, I'm not trying to chastise Nicole for making a game move, because she had no way of knowing that, like, things were going to go to this level after the fact, and I know she's worried about the game, but that doesn't help me from thinking, you know, just on a personal level, it obviously still sucks that David and Davon are still in the dark about this, or if Davon's in the dark about it anyway.
Yeah, this was not a bad game move. It was just, I think they didn't think that it would blow up into what it blew up to. I mean, this should have been a game move that would cause some tension, or at least cause a little bit of distrust, but I don't think anybody expected that.
The question I kind of keep thinking over in my head is just, if you're David, why not confront Nicole about this? Why not say, hey, you know, I voted this way. Is it just that he doesn't think that's going to do anything?
I think that very first time that we saw Davon and Bailey talking to David, where he drove around the clown car and he just kept picking people up and he blew up Tyler's game. When he's confronted with something like that, he just folds in on himself. So seeing Nicole in the house and how she uses emotions to control people, to manipulate people, I think David just knows that he doesn't have a chance. If he tries to have a confrontation, he's not going to be able to handle it. She's going to pull out some tears or something else. He's going to feel even worse, and it's all going to go badly for him. I think he just knows he can't handle it.
Here's the funny thing about David. David has not actually even been in the clown car now for a few days. Like, he got out of it a little while. He's, like, got a regular car, and he's just, like, trying to start it. And he's like, all right, I've got this. I'm ready to go. I got my license. I'm prepared. Nobody put any gas in the car. It can't go because nobody is helping him, like, push it to the gas station.
No, Nicole and Danny are out there slashing the tires.
Yeah, like, he's stuck. Davon doesn't trust him. I mean, we're going to transition a little into the feeds here, because Davon and David finally had a conversation not that long ago, but it still didn't really go anywhere, because it still feels like David is trying to, like, prove himself on, like, the witness stand, and she's just not really willing to believe him. And he's tried, and he's even tried to make her see, oh, you know that Nicole is really probably more loyal to Cody than Ian, and maybe some of that her closeness with Ian was put on, but Davon's still not even having that.
Yeah, I mean, David is just in a no-win situation. The game has gone on too long. He hasn't got enough credit with Davon at this point, that it really was a good move to be able to use some of that distrust, because it's working. There's just nothing he can really do. It really is just Davon needs to leave the house, watch it back, and go, oh no, and that's what's going to happen.
And I think Davon will. I don't think Davon's the sort of person where she's going to watch this back and not, own, I made a big mistake here. I wish I wouldn't have done that. It's going to be frustrating because it's Nicole, and I think the other part of this now is, it doesn't seem like Tyler, who won the veto, is going to use it. It feels like Kevin and Davon are going to stay up there. And I think Nicole is kind of okay with Davon going at this point now, because I think she is so, insert key Nicole word here, scared that this secret that she is the vote is gonna somehow get out.
Yeah, and it sounds like it is probably going to end up getting out because Chris was talking a little bit about wanting to tell Davon about it or maybe putting it in the goodbye messages because that's also a great game move to kind of be like, hey, if I'm sitting at the end with Nicole, just remember I'm the person who told you about this.
Christmas has got to do something to get some sort of, like, I don't know, appeal back with Davon after the great, how dare you make me into a have-not.
Oh, come on, that was so ridiculous. And her smugness about it.
Yeah.
Are you serious? Are you serious? Yeah, you put me on the block. Even her in the confessional being like, all I did was put her on the block. Why would this... Christmas! Like, have a little bit of self-awareness here. Yes, you put her on the block. That is why you are not participating in Taco Tuesday anymore. Take that taco away.
Who knew tacos could be like such a key theme in 2 consecutive seasons of Big Brother?
Okay, also, Big Brother producers, how mean is that you're going to call out have-nots while Christmas is stuffing her face with a taco and she sees this? Cody made the whole meal. He gets nothing. He has a chip and then he's done. Guys, that is the meanness.
The funny thing about this is that Christmas was like the whole face full of taco. It reminded me so much of like those Survivor immunity challenges where people can sit out and eat the food.
Yeah.
And there's like somebody over there's got like 4 donuts in their mouth all at one time. It was, I felt marginally bad for Cody in that moment. At least he was mad, but at least he didn't have this conniption. I like that they even had like the flashback sequence of Christmas watching Davon have a joking conversation and was just like, look at these peasants below me having a conversation. I am going to use this against them.
That was really good.
It was just like...
Props to BB producers for that.
Yeah, they really made her feel like so sinister, like hovering over them on the balcony of doom or whatever else. This entire episode, like, smug is like the opposite, like the operative word here because of like Danny being like, oh, this is basically David's first time playing. She's not wrong, but
she's not wrong.
You gotta say it like that in the diary room.
I know. And then Memphis with his smugness, of course, that he's convinced David that if he wins the veto, don't use the veto so he can backdoor him. If that had worked, man, just drive that clown car right out, Dave.
I want to give David a big socially distanced hug because
I know.
I feel so bad for him at this point. Like, he isn't a great player. I'm not sitting here and saying that David is Dr. Will or anything, but he's gotten better. It's just too little, too late for this guy at this point.
He's kind of also gotten better at this sort of idea that we had he was going to be really perceptive. In this episode, there were some things that he was like hitting on about Nicole and what her and Danny might be doing, and I was just like, yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. Why aren't you able to do anything with this information? It doesn't even matter that you figured it out.
Wait, it gets worse for David because we're not even at Davon and Kevin's new plan.
Okay, let's talk about this gong show.
This might as
they
well just...
pulled up the clown car because they're driving around.
Yeah, no, they are now borrowing the car. David, now that he's trying to start his new car, Davon and Kevin picked this up.
Yeah, and drove it up to Memphis and Tyler.
Their plan here is that, okay, we're going to try to find a way to sort of sell them on this idea that, hey guys, we know that David is a double agent for you guys and that he told us that about some of the plan that's been going on, that you were going to tell us that we were on the block and that, you know, that David was really going to be a replacement nominee when it wasn't the case. And, you know, he told us about some of the vote plan for this eviction and everything else. And, you know, it's sort of like they think this is like reverse psychology, that Memphis is going to then be like, oh, I can't have you know that I've been secretly working with David this whole time. David, you're going on the block now.
It's so bad. This plan is so bad. And I feel so bad for them because it feels like they are just clowning themselves. And I know that they're in a desperate situation to get David on the block, but I just don't understand how the three of them don't really understand that that whole side of the house is working together. It has been combinations of the three of them going up over and over and over again. Like, I don't understand how they don't see it.
I appreciate the effort. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm never going to be mad at someone playing Big Brother as opposed to just playing dead and not doing anything. But why not at least try, the three of you, to come up with some sort of plan to maybe throw Danny under the bus here and talk about Danny continuing to try to play both sides to some extent. They're trying to use the women against the guys. Like, try something else beyond...
Or just throw Kevin under the bus. He's thrown you under the bus so many times. Just go to Nicole and Danny and really work something out with them to get those votes. And goodbye, Kevin.
That's the thing. And I'm really worried that if the nominations remain the same, that Davon, I don't know how hard she's going to go against Kevin. And I feel like Kevin is sort of like Lannister-like in the Big Brother house in terms of he will totally scheme or do whatever else he can. He's got like a little bit of that like Tyrion in him. Not the fun like early seasons of Game of Thrones Tyrion, but he's capable of a lot of deception.
Yes, he's going to kick everybody down the moon hole.
Like, it is really... Who knew we would get the moonhole clown... We have... I don't want to pattern it... Well, okay. There we go. Okay, so that is the most ego we will ever have... Well, I will ever have at these videos. But it is such a mess at the moment in there. I just feel bad. It's just like, I want to drink and like some ice cream or something after all of this.
I do too, but we had so many cupcakes last night, I can't.
Yeah, it has been a lot of sugar over these past little while, but this is mostly where we are right now in the Big Brother house, except, Danny is like trying to also like nudge people, be like, David and Kevin, they're getting closer. They're working together maybe a little bit. Davon, she's got potential. Maybe she's not nobody's buying your campaign, Danny, to keep Davon.
No, it's all just bad. We're probably going to lose Davon, and the more that Danny does stuff like that, the more it's just going to seal the deal.
This is where we are, everyone. Buckle in, keep the hard hat on. We got a long journey ahead of us.
Yep, everybody's getting kicked out the moon door.
We're all going out the moon door together. Let's get some parachutes.
Yep.
But we'll wrap up this video. We will be back tomorrow. But before we do, what do you guys think about everything on Big Brother 22 tonight? What you saw, where we are on the feeds, share in the comments, and give us a like, subscribe, support us further. Check those links to the store, to our Patreon, and we'll see you here next time.